But
I'm sure there's some of that going on. Yeah, but I do also wonder if there's not some people pushing back against it because they don't think that that kind of culture or society is sustainable.
mhm,
They are worried about that. They also, I think, just to be fair, worry whether or not it's healthy for a man to be married to a man, whether that's good for your personal being.
I
You
guess
know.
it's them if they. I mean,
Yeah, well, but yeah, it's on them. But I would take a more maybe compassionate approach to say, hey, brother, if you're my good friend and you're engaged in these type of relationships that are not good for you, I might have something to say. If I have a good friend at church who
mhm.
has, and I've got people at church, whatever, that are friends that have multiple kids and they decide, hey, I'm going to go off and be gay. I might have something to say to him about that. I might say, not a good choice.
Well,
So
they could tell
yeah,
you that's my choice. We'll see you later. Have a nice one.
right. Well, and obviously I couldn't stop you from doing that, but I think, but on a personal level, again, you talk about the individual.
Mhm.
Um, I think on a personal level, if we say we love one another, that we would have something to say about not engaging in lifestyles that are destructive to ourselves and to those around us.
So I don't believe that lifestyle is destructive from what I've seen. You know,
Okay.
I mean, like I said, I've got lots of friends. I don't think that lifestyle is destructive at all. Let's do it another way. Let's say that all the men just decide to go live by themselves. They don't
Yeah.
have to. You know,
Yeah. I
there's a
think
lot.
that would be
Do
bad.
that. There's a lot of women that do that now. They just live on their own. A lot of single
Yeah.
moms there that just live on their own. So do we need to, in your frame of thought, do we need to make sure that they get this partner so they can fulfill their lives or whatever? Or, I
Well,
mean,
no, I'm not.
way too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I think the best thing. Well, all right. So I'll just get personal here. I definitely think the best thing for children is to have a mom, and a dad.
I agree.
That's
I
it.
grew up that way. I agree. I think it's wonderful. But I think it's great to have two parents. So I've
Yeah.
seen relationships with two people that have children that are same sex relationships. And I think it's great to have two parents. So,
Well, yeah. We'll see. We'll
you know,
see whether or not the data bears that out. Well, so anyway. Yeah. So again, getting back to the matters at hand here.
sure, sure,
Got
sure.
yeah.
We
We
got
definitely
sidetracked.
got it. We definitely got into the weeds on this. This is good.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think Biden and Harris should go for the whole thing. I think they should go through the enchilada.
Yep.
First and foremost, once that Senate gets in place, they've got to abolish the filibuster. Then I would say, I don't know. The toss up is between add states and add. I would say 8 court members.
Why,
Um,
why
what
eight?
8? Just to make sure, because it's 6-3 right now. If you add 8, you've got an 11-6, no problem. So anything that would be challenged on your agenda wouldn't be an issue because Democrat appointees to the court don't break from the party. That just doesn't happen. That only happens with Republicans. So if you had 8, any challenge to your legislative agenda to the court wouldn't. Yeah, you just have no chance.
What would you do with the lower federal courts? Would you start packing them too?
I don't think we'd have to worry about that because the lower federal courts, if something got challenged, just send it up to the Supreme Court, and with an 8-6, let me think. Let me see. They've got 8 with an 11-6
Yeah.
majority. It wouldn't be a problem. Wouldn't
Well,
be
if
a
we got,
problem.
well, we've got Trump packing the courts down in the lower levels right now, right?
Well,
Hundreds of new
well,
judges.
we have him. Yeah, we
Like
have him filling.
point.
We have him filling vacancies, which
Mm-hmm.
again is due to the blunder of Harry Reid
Mm-hmm.
um, abolishing the filibuster for justices. That was
Right.
his. That was his move. Okay, so the Republicans took advantage of that.
We should have got
That's
rid of it
just
completely.
Well, right.
So now,
So, anyways, so they got so right. So you've got that situation. I don't think that's as much of an issue because all you got to do is bounce it up to the Supreme Court, and if you've got an 11-6 court, it's not a problem.
right.
Um, and then to ensure that the Congress never turns Republican ever again, you
Hmm.
add those states, and then before, well, let me think. I don't know if you'd have to do it before the election or not. No, you wouldn't have to do it before the 2022 elections. You would have to do it before the next presidential election. You'd have to abolish, and I know you're squeamish about this, but you'd have to abolish the electoral college. Yeah,
If you did that,
because
then it would definitely be a one-party system.
yeah,
If
it'd be over with.
the electoral college by itself, period, you
Right,
would be at the one-party system, unless
right.
you got
Well, no,
uh,
I think no, because you can't. You couldn't just abolish the electoral college and have it done. You would have to ensure that the Congress was always Democrat.
right. You'd
That,
have
and
to.
that's why you add the states. That's why you abolish the filibuster. That's why you add the justices to the Supreme Court, and then you abolish the electoral college. It's a done deal.
And
So then you can just run the table. You
mhm.
can just however you want to deal with Second Amendment stuff, you deal with it. However you deal with First Amendment stuff, you deal with it. You just whatever you add the single payer, the universal health care, no problem. All that stuff's gonna. That's the thing. That's the thing that Obama could have done. And again, we were very pissed
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
He could have done it so easily. Could have done
Even
it so easily, but
basic income, I think that we ought to bring that in too.
what's that?
Universal basic income. Don't forget that one.
Yeah, well, yeah, well, but yeah, that's kind of down the list. But after the one party system is established, then that's when you got to start figuring out the economics of things. That's when you got to start deciding. Well, okay, so what industries are going to be government owned? I mean, first and foremost, you got to make healthcare government owned, no question, right?
Well, well, yes and no. Every place I've been that has universal health care still, well, it's not government owned. Healthcare is still private. Private is paid by the government. So your hospitals are still private, your doctors are still private. In fact, the whole thing about Obamacare, where people lost their doctors and that, when I lived overseas, I can walk in with my card and I can go see
Right.
any doctor I want. I can go see the same doctor I want. If I don't like that doctor, I can go see any
Yeah.
doctor, dentist I want, and it's all covered under my health care.
Right, but all those entities are paid by the government, right?
They are.
Okay,
So you're
but so
abolishing.
they're not private then. They're not private.
So what you're abolishing is the health care insurance. You're not
Right.
making.
Okay. So the insurance. Right. You're abolished. Yeah. You're getting rid of. Yeah. You're not taking over the. What you're taking over is the doctors and the hospitals and the health care.
You're not taking that over now.
What do
It's
you mean
still
you're not taking?
all you're taking over is the insurance side of it. Instead of having an insurance companies are out, and the federal
Okay.
government.
So maybe we have a disagreement on what do you mean by take over? Because who gets so in a single payer system, who gets paid? How does a doctor get paid?
They get paid directly by the government.
Right. That's what I would call a takeover. That's
But they still run their own practice.
a sure.
It's a private
Right.
practice, and they're paid by the government.
Okay. Right. Okay. So you and I have a fundamental disagreement on what it means to be taken over by the government.
Well,
Because okay, so all right, so all right, so I'm an employee of a trucking company.
uh-huh.
Who controls me?
Your trucking company.
Yeah. I'm a private doctor
Hmm.
who's paid by the government. Who controls me?
If I have my own small business, well, that's like saying your trucking company, who are they controlled by then? Are they controlled by their customers? Are they controlled by the DOT? Or who are they controlled by?
Okay. All right. So fair enough. But at the end of the day, whoever's paying the bills are the
Hmm.
ones that are in charge.
That's
So in
right.
other words, yeah. Okay. All right.
It's always the golden rule. Okay, I'll give you that. But the
Yeah.
countries I lived in that have healthcare like that, they all have private practices. They even have private hospitals. The government pays the bills. You go in
Yeah,
for
but
what.
you keep saying private. Yeah, that's what's confusing to me is that they might. I don't know in what sense they are private. They are being paid by the government.
They're privately owned. They're privately owned for-profit centers, just like any other hospital is today. And what's going on today is the hospitals and doctors, are they owned by the insurance companies? No. The insurance companies pay them, and they keep negotiating their prices back and forth on the insurance companies. Be the same thing. The insurance company's gone, the government steps in and pays those bills.
All right.
That's
So,
all.
but at the end of the day, even as convoluted as our healthcare system is, where quote insurance companies are paying the doctors, the individuals are paying the health care, the health insurance folks. So the money chain always runs back to the individual.
It does. You're going to pay more taxes to pay for your health insurance, but your taxes are going to be a lot less than what you wouldn't pay an extra $30,000 in taxes for health insurance. You're going to pay a few thousand more, and you're going to have health insurance for your family.
Okay, right. But at the end of the day, the people funding the healthcare system is the government, vis-a-vis the confiscation of taxes from the populace.
Confiscation of taxes. Well, I guess you can put it that way. I'll put it a different way.
Well, that's not I don't mean that to be derogatory. I'm just saying, I mean, your taxes are confiscated. That money is all that means is the money is taken from you. The government takes it and pays for something.
Well,
Right.
we have a fundamental difference anyway about whether the government is taking our money or not. Are we paying our taxes, or are they taking our money?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a fundamental thing. Are we paying our taxes and we expect services or certain whatever for the payment of those taxes, or are they just
Right.
confiscating our money and doing what they want with it? That's a fundamental
Right.
problem that maybe me and you ought to go over. The second part of that is let's use Medicare as an example. Does Medicare run their own hospital system or doctors?
Well, not at this point. They don't. No.
No, they don't. So if we do Medicare for all, what changes? It still runs the same way. But I will do on the background of that is Medicare is actually, what do they call it? Managed by insurance companies. So they're like the in between or whatever, and they could still do that. So there's still a market for those insurance companies to make some money. And every place I've always lived, there's always somebody that wants more than what they get from the public offering. Let's say Medicare for all. So they go out and buy an additional policy, right? Like we would get Aflac or something like that, right? And they go buy an additional policy, let's say from Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Aetna, whatever they want. So they can have a private room versus a share room with somebody if they get ill in a hospital, or some extra perks that they want, right? So when I lived overseas, I had those additional policies too. Well, for a while I did, but so there's still opportunity there for the insurance companies to make money. But what we're doing is you've got to get the administrative cost out of healthcare. That's the biggest waste there is. As things go from hand to hand to hand and billing from hand to hand, the whole healthcare billing industry, that multi-billion-dollar industry, should be wiped out completely. And I don't want people to all lose their jobs. That's a horrible thing. But they'll find new ones because their industry doesn't do anything to benefit anybody.
Right. Well, now this is where something I think that you and I realistically agree with is that the whole health insurance thing. I don't get it. My thing is, so I think health insurance should be like car insurance. So if you want to talk health insurance, okay, here we go.
All right.
I think health insurance should be like car insurance, right?
We can keep no problem.
Well, no, we're gonna do this thing at varying lengths.
Yeah.
But I should be able to see. I don't have any health insurance right now because I can't afford it. I'm priced out of the market.
Me too.
I wish I could buy health insurance that would cover me. God forbid if Jen got cancer.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I don't. Hey, if she falls off the porch and breaks a bone, okay, yeah, we're $15,000-$20,000 in a hock. Okay, that sucks, but it's not the end of the world, right? We'll pay that off. We'll make payment arrangements, whatever it is we got to do. We'll make that happen. But if she gets cancer, now we're talking hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars type of situation. That's the kind of health insurance I need. No. But Yeah, it is.
No, because you're thinking me versus we. That's the kind of health insurance all of us need. And that's why we have to have it done as a national plan versus I'm going to go get my little thing done and I'm okay with my family. You got to get out of the me and you got to get into the we. Because
Yeah, but
you take my
all right.
son with MS, he can't get insurance if he gets out of the Obamacare plan, right? Now he doesn't have to pay as much as you and I do because he doesn't make as much money, right? So
Right.
he's got a pretty light load as far as his premiums. But with MS and having to have infusions every month, no way that he could ever afford that, and he would just deteriorate month by month until finally he would be gone.
Right. Well, that's where I would, in a situation like that, that's where I would say so that you're talking about the pre-existing condition situation where that if if I were sitting in Ted Cruz's seat and somebody came to me and said, "Hey, I've got, Chuck Schumer came to me and said, "Hey, I got a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Let's bracket off all of those with pre-existing conditions, whether it's MS with Jeff or whatever else. Let's bracket that off and let's just have the federal government pay for all that. Done deal. Done deal. Paid for life. And let's move them out of the insurance market so it doesn't affect guys like you and me who are just trying to pay for regular health insurance." Would I make that deal? I'd make that deal in a heartbeat.
No, you wouldn't. You'd complain the whole time
I
because
wouldn't.
my taxes are paying for those people.
No, I wouldn't. I
I can
wouldn't.
tell
No,
you, well,
Jeff, I wouldn't make that proposal to you unless I believed in it. All right, so the
maybe you
point being,
personally, but I know a lot of people that would. They'd go, "Why am I paying for those people? I'm healthy.
okay,
I'm taking
so
part of
some
my."
people make right, and we can argue against those people, but again, I mean, covering pre-existing conditions is pretty much a major plank of the Republican platform right now. We're going to cover pre-existing conditions. So what we want to do. We don't want to leave anybody out in the cold. Oh my God, Trump just said it in the last town hall.
He can say all he wants, but his actions actually tell us something different, don't they? I mean, why is the FDA
All right. So all right.
on the
So
AIDS?
let me dial us back here. All right.
Okay. All
So
right.
you're talking about here's the concern I think with some if you nationalize a significant portion of the American economy, that being healthcare, why not? Why is it fair that that I get to drive the cars and trucks that I do when my neighbors don't? Why is it fair that I have three cars? I have three licensed individuals in my home. Why do I have to get to have three cars when my neighbor who has six licensed individuals in their car only have one car?
Mhm.
Why not nationalize that?
Let's look at it a different way. Let's look at something else that's nationalized. Let's look at the military.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nationalized. We never have a problem with that. That's providing us security,
Right.
air quotes again, security for our country and our borders, right?
Yep.
Uh, why isn't healthcare thought of the same way as like the military in that it provides us security in our well-being?
Okay. Cool. So why isn't owning automobiles thought of the same way? Why not nationalize that?
You
What?
know, you don't need to own an automobile.
You don't? How are you going to get to work?
You know, I didn't own one for 12 years.
Okay. No, I'm not talking about you. I'm
Well, yeah,
talking about
just saying you don't need to.
so
I didn't
so
own
the
one.
Hispanic. It's fair that the Hispanic family next to me. This is a hypothetical.
Sure.
Even though the family next to me is Hispanic, I'm good friends with them,
Right.
and they got tons of cars. But let's just say, for instance, that the Hispanic family next to me only gets one car when they have six licensed individuals, and I have three cars with three licenses. Why is that fair? Why can't we should just nationalize that, shouldn't we?
I don't understand your argument because there's no nationalizing personal items. You know,
No, but no.
hey, you've got three bedrooms.
Personal.
You don't only
Yeah,
got
but
because you use one as an office. You're one bed short. You know, nationalize that. Come on, I don't get that. I mean,
no.
well,
Well, but that's what you're. But that is a okay. So that's a comparison to the healthcare situation.
I,
You need a car. You need a no. You need a car, Jeff. You know as well as I do. You can't survive without a car. You will not make the money that somebody else who has a car makes in this country. You won't. Okay. And you can string it on down the line. So what we're talking about again is, all of these agenda items you're talking about stem from the one party system. And so far, I guess maybe to just kind of put a button on this is you're cool with getting rid of the filibuster 100%.
Sure.
Good with adding states.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure where you are with adding justices to the Supreme Court. Where are you on that?
Well,
Could go either way.
we can either impeach them or we can add them.
Okay. All right. Okay. Maybe we can impeach. All right.
So we
Let me.
keep our majority.
I just say it'd be easier that once Biden and Harris get in there, they get rid of the filibuster, they add the states, that they could add the justices. That just eliminates the
crazy thing is about the justices. If you look at the justices who've been on there for a long time, like even RBG was, they were all nominated and then they were all confirmed with like huge majorities. It's only
the Dems were for sure.
Even the Republican ones were too.
Well, no. Last time I checked, Kavanaugh and Gorsuch weren't. They barely got through.
Other than modern.
Other than them. Other than them. Okay.
Other than those two. So.
Like. And Barrett the same thing. Yeah. So a full third of the court is going to be barely confirmed. So anyway, so the thing of it is, so here's what. All right, so coming clean on this whole idea of the one party thing, I think that what I'm wondering is, from supporters of Biden and Harris, who might like the notion of a one party system, I think you are asking to destroy this. And I'm not just talking about destroy. I'm talking about civil war. I'm talking about, I think you're wrong when you say, well, Texas is just going to go along with the gun confiscation thing. No, they're not. They're going to say, fuck off. And if you want to try to enforce your gun confiscation on us, bring your military down here and let's fight. I think that's what's going to happen. I think you're flirting with...
For a civil war that Texas would invade everybody else and try to...
No, I don't think Texas would invade anybody. I think what would happen is, if you start if we get this one party system that I think, and again, I don't think you're there. I don't think you have that kind of gumption. I don't think you're that dumb. I think what Biden and Harris and whoever's behind them, because I think Biden and Harris are just a couple of puppets. I think what's going to happen is, if they start getting this stuff done and they start violating the Constitution, there's going to be some real bad shit that goes down. Mm-hmm. And again, you talk about guns, that they better stay off that for a number of years. If they want to do a gun confiscation, it better be 10, 15 years in the future. They want to do health care. I think people will gripe and complain and moan and groan and that sort of thing. And our research and development will all go down the tubes. And we won't, talk about a cure for cancer. You can forget about that.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
Yeah. Okay. We can talk about that. We can talk about price fixing another day. But when you price fix, people don't do research and development. They don't. And the United States is
the place that does research and development.
The United States.
The
United States is by far the leader in research and development in medical care. It's not even close. Not even close. So, and the reason for that is, as screwed up as our medical system is because we have a free market medical system. All right. So my point is, if they're gonna start making these moves, they better do some very careful stepping. I think they can do the Medicare for all. I think, everybody would bitch and complain. That, I think they can make that happen. But they start screwing around with stuff like the First and Second Amendment, religious liberties.
We haven't even talked about First Amendment.
We haven't talked about First Amendment, but Jack Dorsey is busily violating.
So the Second Amendment, we're not taking away the Second Amendment. We need to recognize what it is for what it is. Okay, not some notion of the NRA when they took it over in Cincinnati at the at their annual convention. It's going to be recognized for what it is. People don't need military weapons to defend their home. That's all there is to it.
That's not what the Second Amendment was put in place for, in my opinion. My opinion is the founders put in the Second Amendment so the citizens could defend themselves against a tyrannical government.
That's right.
And
if you think that you can defend yourself from a tyrannical government with your little small arms, it ain't going to happen.
Right, but here's the thing, Jeff. Here's the thing. You start making those moves against a state like Texas. What amount of the National Guard down there are going to side with Texas or the federal government? How motivated is the United States military going to be to go down to Texas and enforce a gun confiscation law?
Right.
How motivated is the police going to be to defend the United States government against the citizens of Texas? You're talking about some serious shit here.
So what I told you in the beginning, though, is you're not going to force people to do things. You're going to have to. It's got to be a win-win. You're not going. It's not. This is not a 0-1. We're not. It's got to be a win and a lose. It's got to be a win-win,
Right.
and it has to be presented as such. This is what's better for our nation. This is what's better for Texas. This is what's better for those people as individuals, and this is why we're doing it. Period. You're not going to go down and force anybody, because all you're going to come back with is somebody with force coming back. I agree with you.
Okay. All right. So
civil war is out of the question as far as I'm concerned. I think that's just that's something that the far right is planting.
Well, okay, but at the same time, Jeff, you got to remember what Beto O'Rourke said about the kind of military grade type weapons. You got to remember what Kamala Harris said about that sort of thing. Okay. That's the thing. I wonder what's going through the voters of Biden-Harris. Do they really, are they up for that? If, Harris said within the first 100 days, she would do something like that. Mm-hmm. Beto O'Rourke talked about the same type of thing.
Well, he was going to
Biden said, what's that?
He was going to do it immediately after we had that one big massacre, right?
Yeah. So when you start talking about this kind of top down, you're not talking about us, finally everybody kind of coming to see the light. Okay, we see why, this is being done, et cetera, et cetera. That's not the kind of rhetoric that's being put across by the Democratic Party right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're not going to, you know what, if you think about it numbers wise, how many people do you have to convince? Obviously, they don't have to convince me. That's one less that they have to convince. I don't know if they got to convince you about giving up your military grade weapons, but I don't really know anybody. I do know people that really want to keep their stuff, and they keep it because it's their toy, right?
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, if it's illegal, people don't want to be a criminal. They don't want to be criminals.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all. Yeah. Again, that's all kind of anecdotal.
Yeah.
Information, and what worries me is when you kind of, this stuff becomes a slippery slope.
It changes the whole civil society, and it changes the market for weapons. It changes a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, yeah, but you're not talking. See, here's the thing. You've got cases like this going on in Canada, and I'm setting this up. You've got cases like this going on in Canada. You've got cases like this going on in Idaho, of all places, in the United States, where in Idaho, a couple was denied adopting their great-grandchild because they said on the questionnaire that if that child decided that they wanted to transition, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. Say it's a boy. When they're 8-year-olds, if they wanted to transition, would they support that? And they said no on the questionnaire. Okay. Mm-hmm. If Isaac came to me tomorrow and said, "Dad, think I'm a girl," I'd be like, "Nope, son, you're not. You're not a girl. You're a boy. I can show it to you." And I would try to train him in, I would say, "I know you're struggling." I would be supportive, all that sort of thing, but I would not let him say he's a girl. I wouldn't go down that. Now,
How do
how
we get
long is
to this all of a sudden? I know you
well,
went. You
no,
made.
but here's the point. Here's the no, no, no. Here's the point about the guns, Jeff.
All right.
Is I mean, Obama sent out this memo when he was president saying that this is why we left New York, because Amelia was an 8th grader, and at the school she was going to in New York, the boys could shower with the girls if they identified it as a girl. And I'm like, no, we're out. I'm not allowing that. So we moved. Thank God we can move someplace. Okay.
Yeah.
But
You've
if
got
they get, what's that?
you've got a choice.
Yeah,
You make,
exactly. But here's the thing is, if they take away that choice, then, when I tell Isaac, no, you're not a girl, and then Isaac calls, Family Protective Services and they come to the door with a gun, I'm going to meet him with a gun. I'm going to say, get the fuck off my property. Okay. That's why I want to have a gun. That's just a small microcosm of protecting yourself against tyranny. All right. Yeah. I mean, that's, and there's all kinds of those types of scenarios where I see the rhetoric of the Democratic Party pushing this kind of agenda forward, where it gives a guy like me no choice but to point the gun back at you. Right? Because at the end of the day, let's be real about it. At the end of the day, whatever policy our government implements is at the end of a gun. Because if we choose to defy it, done. If I choose not to pay my taxes, what's going to happen? They're going to fine me. Eventually, I'm going to go to jail. And if I resist arrest, they're going to kill me. So every law that's put on the books is enforced at what? The end of a gun. And when you take the guns out of the people's hands, you've got no recourse, right? I think that's alarming stuff. I'm concerned about the rhetoric of the Democratic Party. I'm concerned that Biden and Harris are puppets. I'm concerned that they're going to go for this one-party thing that you want, that you think is going to produce all these wonderful results. But I'm very, very concerned that it's not going to end up in violence, because nowhere in history where a one-party system has been forced down. Now, again, I know your position is not one that says, oh, we're going to force this down on everybody. They're going to eventually agree and see it's a good thing. That's good. I think that's a pipe dream. I really do. I think taking, AR-15s and military-grade weapons out of the hands of Texans because you think it's a good idea, you're never going to get convinced of that. We're going to continue to be a country that's, that contends. That's the name of the game with our country. We gridlock, we fight, we discuss, that's America.
Obstruct.
But what's that?
Obstruct.
Yeah, obstruct. Yeah, it's damn, the last administration didn't get a damn thing done. That's America. And so, and again, with our diversity and the different viewpoints, I don't know. I think the path to the one-party system that I laid out is very clear. I think it could be very easily done with the Biden-Harris administration, with the Senate. They could get that done before the 2020 election. They could make all that happen. And I think, God help us if they do, because I think it's going to result in not everybody going, oh, okay, well, that's just how things are. No, it's going to result in some real serious problems. So
there's going to be some you're going to have problems with. I get that.
Yeah.
And there's some people that have very, well, you gave one example, okay?
Yeah.
Where that would make you retaliate with a gun.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's probably some that would make me retaliate with a gun too, but
Sure.
with your conviction, right?
Yeah.
But I just don't see those things happening. I don't.
Yeah.
When you think about this thing off in Idaho, about how they answered a questionnaire.
Yeah.
First of all, I challenge why they even had that question on the questionnaire.